as I dug through the book of Revelation over the last several years, I had several people. I must have gotten this question hundreds and hundreds of times, and I get it whenever I'm out in public and somebody comes up to me and asks me a question, hey, who do you think the Antichrist is? And I definitely have some suspects. I definitely do. I have one person that feeling pretty certain on. But I have another one that I'm thinking, well, that guy's a good candidate too. I do believe that the Antichrist is right now here on this earth, pulling into his place appropriately as God has spelled it out in the book of Revelation, as well as Daniel, as well as Matthew 24 and a few others. But I want to take a moment and talk about revealing the Antichrist, because I give the same answer. Anytime somebody comes up to me and says, hey, who do you think the Antichrist is? My answer is, gosh, I'd love to share with you, but I just don't feel like it's okay for me to reveal it for two reasons. One, kind of a self-preservation thing. Chances are I'm wrong. I don't want to sit there and say, well, here's who it is. And then, it's not. And then that destroys any sort of credibility that I might have, which I'm not very much concerned about, other than my credibility interpreting the word and interpreting prophecy kind of gets smeared. So it smears the word, so to say, at least through me. The other part is I kind of had intentions of sharing what I thought and the many, many reasons why and the many, many things that point towards that person. But there was something that I came across in 2 Thessalonians several years ago that I thought, oh, wait, don't do that. And it starts in 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 1. Now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to him, we ask you, not to be soon shaken in mind or troubled either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us, as though the day of Christ had come. Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first. And the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition. So I'm going to pause there for a second, because ultimately what they're saying is that Jesus Christ won't come until the man of perdition, until the Antichrist is revealed. So until he's revealed, you don't have to worry about Christ returning. Like you think he's coming, oh, where is he? He's not coming until that happens, until he is revealed. Let's keep going. Who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Do you not remember that when I was still with you, I told you these things? And now you know what is restraining, that he may be revealed in his own time. So here's what they're saying is that he's going to sit in the temple. He's going to declare himself to be God, which is clearly a revealing thing. I don't believe that is the only thing that would reveal him, but it is definitely one of them. When you see somebody sitting in the temple and they say, look at me, I'm God, well, there it is. But let's keep going. For the mystery of the lawless one is already at work. Only he, Jesus, who now restrains, will do so until he is taken out of the way. So it is Jesus Christ that is restraining the revelation of the lawless one. So it is not my place to reveal something that Jesus Christ is restraining from us. So even if I knew, I wouldn't say who I think it is, because it is not my place. Until Jesus Christ has been taken away and said, okay, now I'm no longer going to restrain that revelation of who this person is. Until that takes place, I don't have any place in this. So you really almost have to look into, well, what is it Jesus said about the revelation of the Antichrist? And the biggest one is going to be him declaring himself to be God, like he said in Matthew 24. Now, let's just keep going. For the mystery of the lawless one is already at work. Only he who now restrains will do so until he is taken out of the way. And then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will consume with the breath of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteousness, deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of truth, that they might be saved. So ultimately what you have here is you have essentially this restraining from Jesus himself. of the revelation of who this Antichrist is until his appointed time. Well, what would reveal him? Well, obviously the abomination that we just spoke about at the temple. Obviously that would do it. Other things, and I'd steer away from these until you can find some certainty in others, but something that would hint towards a revelation would be a gematria answer, and is the name of a man that equaled 666, or be cautious of that. A lot of people, scholars who study the original text of Revelation in that verse, which is Revelation 13:18, that it might actually be 66, not 3 sixes, but 2 sixes. So just be cautious. It's 660 versus 666. Be cautious. If it says 660 and you're like, well, that's not him, it might be. All right, and the other one would really be the deadly wound that is healed, which is not necessarily a fatal head wound, because we're talking about a figurative beast with heads and horns. The Antichrist will not be a beast coming from the earth. He's going to be a person in a suit. He's not going to be this ravenous beast with 10 heads and all these horns. Like, that's not what, that's a figurative thing. It's not a literal thing. So the deadly head wound could definitely be a deadly head wound. You know, really, until you get to that abomination, you can't reveal who this person is. You know, you can see some things happen, but until that moment when he sits in the throne of God and in the temple and says, you know, well, I'm God. You know, that's when Jesus says, everybody flee out of Jerusalem, because that's pretty much when 3.5 years of tribulation starts. That would be a good revelation. So there you go. Any thoughts or insight on that? Definitely put that below. And again, I have my suspects. I got 2 pretty good ones. But, you know, again, it's not my place. It is Jesus' place to reveal that thing, not mine.